Hello everybody. Today we're going to be doing a spring tune-up on the 2003 Toro 6.5 horsepower mower. Made sure to have everything on hand before I start. Also going to do an oil change, which I also have the oil on hand. Before I do anything, disconnect the spark plug. So I'm going to take this top cover off and get started. And these are just 4/4 inch screws. Oil fill has to come off, and that sets off to the side. We'll just set it on top of the bag. Put the oil fill back on, and now we can get to everything. Before I start, I take a picture for reference so I know where everything goes back, all the linkages and whatnot. So that's done. Now I'll take my 7/16 and remove the muffler. And nothing out of the ordinary here, so I'll set that to the side. Now I can get my 3/8. And remove this. And I can finish it off with Phillips. Now, take the air filter off. It's pretty dirty. Set that to the side. And there that is. And that gasket broke, so I think it came with the extra one, so that's a good thing. And then it's a matter of disconnecting the linkages in the spring. And that's pretty crusty there, so I have to clean that up. Go ahead and get that gasket removed. A little while later, I've got the surfaces cleaned up, so I can continue working. And I probably didn't have to take that off, but I wanted to get behind there and clean that up thoroughly. So that's okay. Let's get this carburetor off. 7/16 on this side and 3/8 on this side. And I will be saving this old carburetor and redoing it. The people at the lawnmower shop already said they have the parts to rebuild the carburetor. Alright. Now for the messy part. Let's see how I want to go about doing this. I think I'll just take the whole gas tank off. Supposedly it just slides up. There we go. Perfect. Now I'll go drain this tank. Alright, that old carburetor's off. This kit I got came with a new fuel line. And don't know if it shows on camera, but that is cracked pretty bad. These gas tanks are in LA, so you got to be real careful taking that fuel line off. Don't want to snap that nipple off. Let's cut the fuel line. Use the Craftsman Handy Cut. That's a great tool to have. There's the new fuel line installed on the gas tank. They were also kind enough to include the new clamps. So I'll put that on. The original one was broke on the bottom of the gas tank. Pretty snug fit. And of course the wind starts blowing. So see, that's right in the middle, so that'll do. It'll hold the hose on. Now I'll go ahead and snap the fuel tank back in place. And I can start getting the new carburetor situated. I'll have to remove this piece here for the filter. It's part of the filter housing. And transfer it over to the new carburetor. It's just 2 Phillips screws. And I'll go rinse this off and clean it up a little bit before I transfer it. Some LA is totally awesome to clean this with. That's all cleaned up. Gotta transfer this gasket, which is still good, so no need to replace it. It'll be easier to go in this way, like that. Get these 2 screws. And just snug them down, don't go overboard. Don't want to strip them out or anything. Now that this carburetor can be reinstalled. There's another clamp. And work the hose on there, get it in place. Squeeze the clamp. And that is in place. There, pointing down, out of the way. There's gasket number 1, which goes in between this intake and the carburetor. Get that all lined up. And get the nuts on them. And just get them started where they're not cross-threaded. Snug them down a little bit. That's got to point up, just about like that. I'll just kind of hold that in place with my finger. Get the old ratchet out. But before we do that, let's go ahead and get that other one snugged up. That should be sufficient. Up next, put this gasket in. Take note of where that was manufactured. USA. Goes like that right there. Get that started. starting one, then the other. And all that's hooked up as it should be. There's how the original one is, so it's set up just the same way. So that should work. That's why I take my reference pictures. A little bit of a challenge, but I did it. Never did it before, but I tried and got it done. First time I've ever had to work on this engine besides routine maintenance, but I guess you'd consider this routine maintenance as I'm not rebuilding the engine or anything. And now I can put the new filter on. It's a nice fit. And there's the new filter. Now I've got to put the muffler back on. That's my 7/16. I couldn't find a torque spec. So we'll just go about like that. Now I'm going to change the spark plug. Got a real old spark plug tool. Pretty dirty. Not exactly the same. It's got a gap, so we'll go with that. I need to get a service manual for this thing. There's the spark plug. Not overly tight. See, could be a problem. Well, you're going to need a new coil on it before long. It stays on, but it's a little bit of a mess. I need to file that down in there a little bit. See some corrosion. Well, I guess I can put some gas in it. We'll see if it'll start. Alright, we got it down. See if it starts any better. And we're revving a bit high, so I'll turn that down. We'll turn that screw back in. I believe I got it. What I had to do is bend this tab back just a little bit to relieve a little tension on that spring. This wasn't closing far enough to let this run at the RPM it's supposed to. Now it is, so we'll give it a start and see what happens. And I'll come back next time I mow and we'll do a cold start and see how it does after sitting for a few days. Well, now that the engine's running well, let's get the oil changed and replace the blade. So again, I will disconnect the spark plug, get my oil pan here. Get it in position. All I do is tilt it on its side and let the 20 ounces of oil drain out. While that's chooching, I'll get my block of wood and get this blade changed. So you like doing two things at once. Gotta stay efficient. Here's my pre-sharpened blade. I always have two blades on hand. Take that other blade back in and I'll sharpen it, or have my grandfather sharpen it. And next time I need to have a sharp blade, I've got one. This is why you want the spark plug disconnected. That should be plenty tight. Looks like the oil's drained. So I'll stand it back up. And I go out to the storage shed and I grab my oil, which is already in stock. So I can drain my oil and immediately refill it. And then I don't have to worry if somebody else comes over here and decides they want to mow, that my mower's out of oil because I had drained it and not filled it back up immediately. Then that can fit in there and drain all the oil out of it as possible, as much as possible. That should be plenty good. Nice clean oil. Spark plug wire back up. We should be done. So while I'm not an expert in this kind of work, I got it done. Let's start it up one more time with the fresh oil in it. For right now, it seems to be running pretty well. Don't know how long with that Chinese carburetor, so I'm going to go get the stuff to rebuild the original one and have it on hand in case I have to do this again pretty soon. But once again, this has been my spring tune-up on the 2003 Toro lawnmower. Thank you for watching.